Nigel Richards has done so many incredible things in the game of Scrabble that you might think nothing he does could surprise us anymore. But he recently played a game at the KSSA Indian Open that absolutely stunned the Scrabble world. The fact that he set a new personal high for points scored in a game isn't even close to the most interesting thing about this game, so you're going to want to watch this one through to the end. In round 3 of this 34-game marathon event, Nigel's opponent is Rajiv Antao, a veteran Indian player. Nigel is definitely a big favorite to win this game, but Rajiv is strong enough to put up a good fight with the right tiles. Rajiv goes first and opens with Awa for 12. Nigel responds with Zoa for 32. He could have played the same word in this positioning instead, but Nigel likely wants to avoid making an easy line for 7-letter bingos ending in ED or ER. His choice is significantly more defensive. Rajiv answers with Boyle forming Ba for a solid score, and Nigel plays Keg for 22, possibly with an S in reserve, setting up Skeg and Zags in one move. Rajiv blocks both of those spots at once, but Nigel ends up playing in a totally different area of the board with Jimmy, which looks like a great way to shed a J and 2 M's. Rajiv draws the first blank and plays his highest scoring bingo of Looters for 74. Toolers could have played in the same spot, but Rajiv makes the right choice here, as the L is much less likely to yield a game-losing triple-triple to Nigel. As it turns out, Nigel doesn't have a good play in that spot, as he's forced to dump his Q for 37, evening the game. Rajiv plays B for 20 points, leaving the L of Looters untouched. The same letters do play one space over for the same score, obstructing plays through the L. Much of the time, Rajiv's choice will be totally inconsequential, or perhaps even beneficial to him when Nigel has good scoring plays overlapping the J, allowing Rajiv to use the triple next turn. But in this game, Nigel has unfixes on his rack. Pause for a moment and see if you can spot the completely normal word that Nigel plays here. If you look through that open L, you had the right idea. Rajiv's choice to leave the L open gives Nigel the absolutely devastating response of influxes across 2 triple word scores for 221 points, essentially guaranteeing him the win immediately. Rajiv continues on, playing Jai for 20, and Nigel draws another strong rack. He has the very stylish awarding hooking Jimmied for 66 points here, and he can also bingo with Darings for 74 across the board. Instead, he plays the more obscure Great-ins for the same score, using the G to better obstruct Rajiv's access to the triple word score. Rajiv's tiles are awful, as evidenced by his next move of Lovey, shedding UVV, and Nigel immediately draws the second blank. He's got one standout move here, and as usual, he spots it. A length, hooking the L to form Jail for 91 more points, padding his lead even further. Rajiv answers with the nice overlap of Add for 28. Next, Nigel draws Poutine right out of the bag. Sadly, it doesn't fit anywhere on this board. He does have one playable bingo here, Eruption through the R of Great-ins for 72 more points. It's an appropriate word given the eruption of points on the scoreboard, and it's his 4th straight bingo of the game. Rajiv plays Cine for 21 to cover up the newly opened triple word score. Nigel already has a stunning 583 points with a solid chunk of the game left to play. But as impressive as his game has been so far, there are definitely other players in the world who could have made this same sequence of moves. I like my chances to find all 4 of the bingos Nigel's played, for example. When we think about Nigel's many moments of greatness, the most awe-inspiring ones are when he does something that literally nobody else in the world could do. And that is what happens in this position. Nigel draws strong, balanced tiles again, and an experienced player might spot the word co-parent for 82 points. A really dedicated tournament player who studied the dictionary would see that option and then likely notice an even higher scoring bingo is available here. Sarkinet for 89 points. So what does Nigel play? Unbelievably, he places his 7 tiles in between the P of eruption and Ted further down on the board to form the 11-letter word pernoctated for 92 points. The A also hooks non to form anon for a little bit of extra flair. Pernoctated is an archaic word specific to the Collins Dictionary, meaning to pass the night in vigil or prayer. The fact that he knows this word and can find it in a game of Scrabble is mind-boggling. Learning all of the Scrabble Dictionary from 2 to 8 letters in length is a feat of memory and dedication that takes years, even decades, to achieve. Learning 9-letter words is a task with steeply diminishing returns, though a small handful of players have done it. Exhaustively learning anything longer than that is inconceivable, even to Grandmaster level Scrabble players. That's because words this long just aren't that important in Scrabble. For example, there are over 46,000 annotated Scrabble games posted online at crosstables.com. Only 5 of these contain examples of bingos 11 letters or longer being played in a tournament setting. There's almost 30,000 11-letter words in the dictionary, and your odds of playing even one of them are about 1 in every 10,000 games. Learning them would be an insane task, even for the most dedicated Scrabble grinder, but not for Nigel. Until proven otherwise, we have to assume that Nigel knows every word in the dictionary, regardless of length, and that he's achieved feats of memory most of us could only dream of. With an 89-point bingo already available, it's even more incredible that he looked in this particular spot for a better move at all. This is a play that only one player in the world can make, and fortunately for all of us, he was the one playing this game. After 3 more unremarkable turns for each player, the game ends with a final score of Nigel 748, Rajiv 301. This game shattered Nigel's previous high score for a single game and featured 5 consecutive bingos in a row for him, both of which would be top headlines under any kind of normal circumstances. Let's also recognize the incredible feat achieved by Singaporean Grandmaster Hubert Wee, who quickly rose to the top of the standings along with Nigel and ended up playing him a staggering 10 times over the course of the event. Even more impressively, Hubert won 6 of those 10 games and tied him in another. Despite Hubert's heroics, Nigel held him off just enough to win the event. But his play of pernoctated is what we'll all remember most about this tournament. It's yet another example of Nigel's unique genius, playing Scrabble at a level that no other human may ever reach. Speaking personally, I feel very lucky to get to watch him play.